Hi. Yes, I think it's time for us to have a look at the 4 Olivettis that I have cleaned. They were filthy, especially the SP version, which is the fast one, running at 10 megahertz. So in this episode, we're going to open this one up. We're going to test it. That means we need to dig out the power supply and test that. We need to see if there's any short on any of the rails and stuff like that. And then we'll turn it on. If it works, I hope so. I don't expect, especially the 2 SPs, to be working at all because they were filthy, super rusty. And if you want to look at how we cleaned all that, it's up there in the corner, and I will put a link in the description to that. So with that, I think I'm gonna open this one up and I'll move you closer. So let's run the intro. And here we have the power supply. I have opened the power supply up because I have cleaned it. So I don't see anything leaking in there or any bad smells and anything. So I am just willing to test it immediately. One brief thing is, remember this goes to the fan. This is 220 here volts. So don't mess around with this. That goes to the fan, as I said. I think the solution is to figure out to turn it on and test. There will be ground here and 5 volts. This is the Molex connector with 12 volt and 5 volt over there. This is also a Molex connector, it's just another plug. Let me find something we put in so we can measure the voltage here and there. And for that purpose I have this harness that can go up here. So if we plug into the Molex connector down here, orange on Olivetti in the early days, that is 12 volts, and red is 5 volts. So quickly on voltage, let's see if it's turned on. I think it's turned on. So let's see if it works. I'm getting 11.5 volt out of this. This is an Olivetti power supply. I have no problems turning this one on without any loads. 5.2. Power supply is okay. I'm turning it off. And the bleeding capacitor in there is very fast at bleeding out the voltage. But nevertheless, remember, this is high voltage inside. So don't mess around with this if you don't have any ways to understand what's going on in there. It can be dangerous. Let me put this to the side. What I need to do now is continuity mode. I need to see if the rails have shortened out on the board. To that, I need to try to explain that this is the thin line. There's a plus and minus 12 volt that goes to the motherboard that sits underneath this one. There's a 12 and ground volt that goes up here to the graphics card. This also provides the 12 volt if you had a amper or green, yellow, whatever monochrome monitor hooked to the Olivetti. That's for powering that, because those Olivetti monitors do not need 220 or 110 volts. So, and this is 5 volt, the red one, and the dark one is ground. So I just want to see if we have any shortage on the 5 volt rail first of all. Even though it's beeping, there's no shortage, so that's fine. If I then go on 12 volt rail, says nothing. If I take plus and minus, the plus is the orange. Sorry, let me take this way. So here and on ground, nothing, so that's perfect. And the last one is the minus 12 volt rail, which is also perfect. So it seems we have no shortage on the unit itself. In this case, I saw this, which is a 25 volt. Does it state anything else? It actually doesn't, but this was up like this. So let me briefly, it looks actually okay. Let me test this one. And the way you test it is with one of these. And if I turn this one on, .7 ohm, and this looks fine. Good. So instead of me desoldering all of this, putting a new one, I'll just solder this to the board. So I need to take out this board also. So let me unscrew this, take this one out, and then we'll solder this in. Okay, so I'm kind of like ready to desolder it, but I did some more measuring. This is dead. I looked at it and it's 25 volts, 47. So, and this one is the same, this one is the same, and found one. I don't have them in this form factor, but I will need to desolder this one. Let me just briefly show the values for this and this. So this gives you 620, where this was 40 something only. And if I look at this one over here, I know this is in circuit, but this should be okay. This value is also not good. So that needs to go. And if I take this one up here, also need to go. So I actually need to change all three of them. So let me rip those three out, and I need to put these in. That's all I have, sadly, but that's gonna be okay. That's gonna be fine. So let me just do that, and then I shall come back to you. I think that's done. I think it's kind of like okay. So yeah, it is what it is. So I will put this back into the computer. I will clean up the table, and then let's turn the this computer around and let's inspect the motherboard and see if we find anything we need to have a look at. So let me just very briefly do all that and come back. And very quickly inspection. Everything looks fine, right? I think so. I think this is all good. So let me continue sampling the computer. I need to put back in the power supply, and then I guess we just have to turn it on. There's nothing more that we actually can test, so it should be fairly easy. So let me quickly put back in the power supply. So here's the setup, and I think we're just ready. I have hooked in the monitor. This is one of the monitors that I have fixed, so we'll test this at the same time as we test the computer. Again, I have no hopes for this, so I'll put some power to it. Sadly, the LED, the green LED here is not present, and the reset button is not there anyway, so we cannot use that. But once we turn on the computer, the keyboard should blink, and if the loudspeaker is working, then this should say beep, and something should appear over here. Again, no hopes for that, but let's just try. Let me take some power to it, and let's just turn it on. I have already all the measurement equipment on the side if we need to turn it around and see why it's not working, if it's not working. So let me turn it on. Let's see. I see the keyboard is blinking. I don't hear anything. There was the beep. And wouldn't you know, there's something on the screen. Remember, I haven't put in the floppy disk drive or nor the hard disk. So this one cannot boot to anything besides that. But yeah, we have a working computer. This is kind of like crazy when we saw how bad this computer was in the previous episode. But nevertheless, amazing. So next up, let's put this into the computer and see if we can get this one up and running. I think, yeah, let's just do that, and then I will come back once it's up. And we need the data cable. Let's just see, one is over there, so blue goes this way. And this is the same. Let's just put it in, and let's turn it on again. Maybe I should find a boot disk, floppy disk. Give me a second. I got the floppy disk. This is Olivetti's Microsoft MS-DOS 3.2. I'm just gonna put it in. I have cleaned the floppy disk drive, so hopefully this works. Let's turn it on and see. I can hear the hard disk is spinning up. And the head is moving. There's a light. And it's trying to see if it can recognize the controller card and locate the hard disk on that via the built-in BIOS on the card. This is a Western Digital controller card for this hard disk. Not sure, it's taking a long time. I can't remember if it takes that long time usually, but maybe it's not working. It is working, but the floppy disk drive, the hard disk is blinking. Oh, OMG, the hard disk is spinning up. And we're inside the computer. How is this wow. Okay, so we have a hard disk. Yeah, let's just briefly do D just to see. Yeah. It's up, there's loads of context in it. Let me quickly do ver for version. So the DOS is MS-DOS version 3.1. That means that we don't have Xcopy, so I will, as fast as I can, take the content from this hard disk, copy it onto my SD, so I have a copy of that. Should we reboot the computer? Just to see, because I saw a menu, something, yeah. So the menu, this is Danish. It says that there's an AutoCAD, there's GEM, that must be the graphics desktop. There's some communication, Pascal, the programming language, a worksheet, a document thing, spreadsheet thing, something with welding, something with machine for something called NC3M, and machine NC810T. Seems that we just need to punch in the labels over there. Let me, before I do anything into this, let me shut it down. Let me put my card in, and then I will take the content and move it over to the SD card. Give me a second. I have copied the content from this hard disk onto the SD card via a Windows, sorry, DOS 3.2, because that has Xcopy on it. Once I did that, there are problems with the hard disk. There are bad sectors and it's struggling copying all the contents over. So I have moved everything that I can to the SD card. No need for you to see me doing an Xcopy. So nevertheless, I have put everything on the SD card that I can, but the hard disk is, yeah, marginal working. I think what we can say now is that the computer is working. Let me just take it out and let me reboot the computer. Let's have a brief look and see if any of the stuff on the hard disk is actually working now. There were problems with the gem files in the gem directories. There are multiple directories for gem, I have no hopes for gem actually working. But let's just try. Let's start it. Let's go in and look at the menu and see if anything is working on the computer. So let's try A for AutoCAD. Usually when you use AutoCAD, you need to either have a dongle or a license key for AutoCAD to work. So I'm not sure this is going to work, but let's just try and start it. A for AutoCAD. It can't find something and I need to find a path. Okay. AutoCAD M overload. I have no clue. How to get dot to get out? Okay. Let's try and see the directories. It's called ACAD. CDACAD. I think the file is over there, so let's try AutoCAD again. That was on C drive. ACAD. No. Seems not to be working anymore. So sadly. Let's see if we can go back. Gem desktop. G. Okay, definitely broken. Seems that we are in a loop where it doesn't work. So let's reboot the computer and let's try again. Now the hard disk is making different kinds of sounds, but it's still working, it seems. Communication, that must be something with a COM port of some sort. I don't know what that is. It's something that doesn't exist. P for Pascal. Let's try. Also invalid directories. Nothing is working. T for word processing. This is DSI Text. That's a Danish text editor, only for education. So I don't know how to get out of this. Username at Tybo. Date, no idea. 10:06. It's only 2 digits. 99. So it seems that I'm creating a user, and now we're in. This is Danish, so let's just get out. So at least that is what seems to be working, the word processing. What is spreadsheet? And the computer is dead. Yeah. Divide overflow. So I think there's so much wrong with the hard disk, bad sectors, that the only thing we can do with the hard disk is to make a low-level formatting via the card and then get it up and running with another DOS. Let's just quickly do, this is welding. Doesn't exist. Okay, more or less nothing exists. And machine, whatever this is, same, invalid. And machine N, also valid. Okay, cool. More or less nothing is working. So let's just say that the hard disk is a little bit damaged with bad sectors, and I will format this low-level, format it, and install Microsoft MS-DOS 3.2 on it. And then this computer is, as it is here, done. So let me wrap all of this up and let's have a brief talk. Well, I thought I would end this episode by formatting the hard disk and then start up and show you some demos on the computer. But the hard disk is really broken. So instead of me doing this, I decided to low-level format the computer. I know that Olivetti has a tendency to not include the BIOS on their hard disk controller cards, even though this is from Western Digital. This one is the WD1002S WX2. As there is no BIOS here, we cannot low-level the hard disk on the actual computer, so we need the BIOS. I went on archive.org. I found a BIOS for this specific card. I burned it on the e-burner, so it's on this EEPROM. So if I turn it the right way around, I don't bend any legs. I think that's correct, like this. And I also need to make a single jumper settings, because the thing is that you can either have 16, 32 or 64K of EEPROMs here. And you tell the board which type of EEPROM it is by the W5 switch, and if it is a 32 or 64, you put the jumper on 1 and 2. So let me just correct this briefly. Yes, that should be correct. So the jumper in here, EEPROM in there, notch down there. Let's put it back. And then we need a boot disk, so because we need the debug programs, so therefore I have this Olivetti boot disk. So let's put it in and let's turn it on and wait for a while. And so the disk number 1 is the one you boot from. On disk number 2 there are utilities and the debug program is in here. So I'll come back once this is booted up and I will swap this and turn on debug. So with the computer rebooted and the disk is swapped over, so I have the debug commands. Just before I press on the debug, I just want to say that when the computer starts up, because we have additional ROMs in the computer now, the operating system, the BIOS on the PC actually tells you that there's an optional ROM at C800, because it sees that now due to the switch that we, jumper settings that we put in. So this is the address we are hunting for, C800. So if I go on debug and I press in G equals C800:5, that should actually turn on the program, and it does. So I hope everybody can see. Let me take the camera a little bit closer. And now with the camera rearranged, we can see that, what's it saying? WX2 format revision 6.0, copyright Western Digital 1985, AL related drive, so the sorry, not AL, AH, that register is the one that tells you the drive. This is drive 0 as it's the first one. And AL is the interleave factor 3 is standard. So it asked me if I can press Y to begin formatting drive C with interleave 3. I will assume I can just accept it. It's doing its thing over there. I can hear it ticking. So let me just take the camera closer to the heads of the hard disk. So let me just briefly show you, this is the head moving. So you should be able to see that it's slowly moving. And it seems so. So I think this is going well. I'm not sure, but let me come back once all of this is done, and then let's see if we can format the computer. Well, I wanted to move the camera over so you can see that the head was ticking along, but it started completely raining like crazy. So sorry, that wouldn't have made any sense, but it's all done. So I think this took like 8 to 10 minutes, and I pressed enter a few times, but it says format successfully. So I think we should be able, if we're lucky, to take in the disk number 1 and do a F disk. I can't even remember what the name is. Isn't it F disk? Am I on the wrong disk? I am, sorry. Let me move over. F disk is also on disk number 2. Sorry. So F disk. Much better. I will now create a MS-DOS partition. I will use the entire hard disk, 20 megabytes. It has now set start at 0 until 610, so that's 611 sectors in size. And I think that's it. And I need to make it active, so that's 2. And I will make partition number 1 active. It is active already. So now I should be able to put in disk number 1. The computer will reboot, and then we can format it. Let's cross our fingers that we are more lucky this time. It is now struggling with cylinder 76 on heads number 0. I didn't put in the bad sector tracks that was on the hard disk. There was a few on the hard disk, so maybe this doesn't work. Maybe we need to find a way to enter all that. But let me just leave you with this and see if it ends up okay. That took almost 20 minutes, but it seems to be done. We have a few bad sectors on the hard disk, but we knew that already. So let me start by going to the hard disk. I need to find colon there and made an MS. Let's make a DOS directory go into that. Sorry. There we go. So if I copy everything from A drive onto there, and do the same with disk number 2. And if we now reboot the computer with a little bit of luck, we should be able to get this one up and running. And it is. So with that, I can now finally say we have one computer up and running. It's done, the Olivetti M24SP. So let me now wrap it up. There we go. Sorry for the detour, but I really wanted this hard disk up and running. And I wanted to do it via the operating system's debugging mechanism to turn on the program within the ROM on the actual controller. So the hard disk is now low-level formatted, and we installed the Windows 3.2. I will put stuff back on it, so there are games and stuff, but that's gonna be another time. It amazes me that this one is running. It really amazes me. It was so bad, it was so rusty, dirty, and there were bugs and stuff inside it. But at the end of the day, all I needed to do sorry for that, I just needed to take out these 3 capacitors, and then it's running. So perfect, I'm happy. I hope you enjoyed this small adventure getting this one back. Remember, we have 3 more, so I will scatter them during the year. So thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you soon. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This helps me heaps and months. So with that, goodbye.